I just want some recognition for having good tits and a big heart. Oh. Well, hello there everyone, my name is Amy, this is The Opinionated Woman, and welcome to Crafty Reads, the series where I craft something and we talk about the last 5 books that I've read. Today, we're working on this baby. This is my scrap yarn cardigan. If you watched my last episode of Crafty Reads, I was like here. Well, since then, I got all the way to here. Eek, fly. I got all the way to here before realizing I'd made a mistake on the sleeve. So I had to frog the entire thing, redo the collar, and start again. So that's what I'm going to be working on while we talk about the books today. It's looking really colorful and cute. Like, I'm really excited about it. I'm just using whatever yarn I have here in my scrap yarn bag. And it's coming out super fun and colorful. I love it. So, we've got our crochet, got our plant. This is my philodendron salou. It's looking very beautiful. This leaf just fully opened today. Very proud of it. But yeah, other than that, let's get into these books. The first book is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. And I must be honest, I almost completely forgot about this book until I saw it on my list. And I was like, oh yeah, I read that. So it obviously didn't have too much sticking power in my head. But I mean, it was a fairly good read. We're following our main character whose name I can't fucking remember. And she is going in, she basically loses her job. She's in a very depressive state and she's looking for therapy, and she ends up in this church, and she by accident gets a job interview to be the new receptionist because the receptionist at the church has died. And then she gets the job even though she is an atheist lesbian. So that's quite a comical way to go into it, but so I kind of expected this book to be a little bit funnier than it was, but it was quite somber and introspective. Our main character she's in a sort of relationship with this woman, but she's obviously not putting in like that much effort. Her friendships are very tenuous. Her relationship with her parents is a little bit like complicated, and so is it with her brother. And we're told the story in sort of a through line. We've got like a through line going through like of certain events happening in the church around what happened to the last receptionist. But we've also got these snippets of what's happening to her, and the depression she's going into, and like the mental issues that she's having. Like, she constantly, I think the first scene is in an emergency room because she's like a super duper hypochondriac and will go to the emergency room so often that the staff know her name. So she's not doing so good, and I think this book is very disconnected and a little bit all over the place sometimes, but it's very accurate in describing what the untreated diagnosed brain would be like. So it's actually really accurate in that way. So yeah, this book was really interesting, but don't go into it thinking it's going to be funny, because it's not funny. Then I read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. How beautiful is this edition? What is it called? There's a bunch of them. The New Collins Modern Classic series. It's so beautiful. I really like it. I got it from the book lounge. This is a historical fiction set during World War II. And our story is split between 2 main characters and their children. I don't usually read books that follow child main characters. I usually struggle to connect with them, which you will see down the line in one of the other books that I've read this month, or in the last few weeks. So the first perspective we follow is Marie Law, who's a blind girl living in Paris with her father, and he's made a scale model of their neighborhood in their house so that she can feel it and get to know the terrain so that she can navigate it herself, like if she ever needs to without him, with her cane. And it's so beautiful and just like so shows how much he loved her. So the war starts and they have to flee Paris because he's been entrusted with this like precious stone, I think it's like a diamond, that his work has. So he has to go off into the countryside to like protect these things, basically. So they escape they escape Paris and go on to the coast of France. And then our second character is Werner, who's a little German boy, and he's very into radios. He's an orphan, and basically that orphanage that he lives at, the boys basically get to about 16 years old and then they put them down in mines. And Werner is terrified of that because that's how his dad died, in a mine. So he really doesn't want that for himself. So when this guy comes and says, like, look, you are interested in radios, you know how they work, we could use your skills, and he takes him to a school to get fed and, housed, like, of course he takes the chance. But unfortunately, that is a camp for the Hitler Youth. So he is on the bad side, but he's still a sympathetic character because he's literally a freaking child. So we're following those two characters through the war separately and when they converge. And it's really done in a beautiful way, because a lot of historical fiction can sometimes drag and feel like weighed down. This is so choppy and quick. The chapters are really short, like no chapter is more than 4 pages long. Some of the chapters are half a page. And I really liked that. Oh dear, I've done 2 double crochets in this. There we go, whoopsie. So it really moves at a wonderful pace, and it just goes from Werner to Mary-Laure to Werner to Mary-Laure. And I just thought it was excellently done. Absolutely, like, it's heart-wrenching. And I thought it ended in an absolutely beautiful way. It was remarkable, and I'm definitely going to read Anthony Doerr again. Then I read a really cute little YA called Forget Me Not by Alyson Derrick. Now, I've read Alyson Derrick and the book that she wrote with her wife, whose name I can't remember. She's blonde. She has blue eyes. Alyson Derrick and blah blah and Alyson Derrick. Alyson Derrick and blah blah blah. I can't remember her name, but they wrote that lesbian book that was all over social media, She Gets the Girl, and I really enjoyed that one. And that one was more new adult, so this one is YA. Right at the beginning of the story, we're following our main character Stevie, and it's very clear that she's made a plan to get out of her small town, and she's going to do that with her girlfriend Nora. And it's like 2 weeks before they're going to leave. They've like made this plan and everything like that to escape this really homophobic little town, and they get in an accident, and Stevie wakes up, and it's basically an amnesia trope. And I've never enjoyed an amnesia trope before, but I thought this one was really well done, especially because the book was really well paced, and it was really short. I'm not like very short, but it was the length it should have been for the topic. I think if it was dragged out, I wouldn't have enjoyed it, but I thought it was perfectly paced. So Stevie wakes up and she's forgotten the last 2 years of her life. There's evidence that she had fractured relationships with her father, her mother, and her 2 best friends. And she completely forgets Nora, completely forgets coming out, all of that. She doesn't think she's gay. She thinks Nora is just the person that found her when she had her accident and saved her life. And I mean, Nora did save her life, but it was because they were out there hiking, because they're girlfriends. So we're following Stevie as she's sort of trying to navigate her way through her life and try and pick up back where she left off and try and figure out who's lying to her and who's trying to manipulate her. And she just starts to make discoveries about herself. And yeah, like I said, it was really well executed. It does have some like queer trauma sort of aspect in it, because we are following someone who has homophobic family, and the reason they're leaving is because they don't think that their family is going to accept them and their relationship. So it does have queer trauma, but it also has like a lot of queer joy in it, and has the type of ending that I think a lot of queer people dream of, which is wonderful. So yeah, I thought Forget Me Not was a really cute one. I really recommend it if you're in the mood for something squishy and sweet. And yeah, I will definitely pick up from this author and from her wife, whose name I can't remember. Lippincott. Rachel Lippincott. Alyson, Derrick, and Rachel Lippincott. I remembered. Alyson's the blonde one. No, Alyson's the Asian one. Rachel's the blonde one. Yeah. Then I picked up a thriller, and that's The Other People by C.J. Tudor. I saw this one in the library. I usually pick up new thriller authors through audio because it's a lot of money to buy a new book for a thriller author that I might not get along with, and there's so many thriller authors that I don't get along with. So when I saw this one at the library, I was like, perfect, like let me give it a try. So this book is following Gabe. He's a dad, and he is coming home one night, and this car pulls in front of him, and he sees his daughter looking out the back window, and she mouths "Daddy," and then the car races off and disappears. And he was like, no, I must have been seeing something, like I don't know what happened there. He tries to call his wife and it doesn't work. He gets back home, his wife and child have been murdered, or what appears to be his wife and child have been murdered. But Gabe knows what he saw. He knows he saw his daughter in that car, and no police are believing him. And it's been years now, and he is always trawling that part of the highway that he saw her on in a camper van, trying to figure out what happened. And we're basically following this man, trying to figure out what happened to his daughter, and in so doing, discovering this like underground like group on the dark web that he somehow gets involved in. And I feel like this book could have been great. Like, it was twisty and unexpected in a lot of ways, but then she Stephen Kinged it. You know, when you get to the end of a thriller and all of a sudden they throw in like a splash of paranormal that doesn't fit at all? That's what it was like. And I was like, no, it could have been good. So I was a little bit let down by this book in the end, but I will give C.J. Tudor another try because I did really enjoy her writing, and she's really good at creating tension. And lastly, I read Behind the Scenes at the Museum by Kate Atkinson, another one from the library. It's so old, the pages are coming up. It's like, and the book that I'm reading now has food coloring stains all over it. I can just picture in my mind the mom who borrowed that book, who's into like historical fiction, and she's left her library book on the counter, and she's cooking and baking with her children, and one of them knocks over the green food coloring, and now it's all over her library book, and she's gonna have to pay a fee, you know? Like, that's what it made me picture. So I just love library books. They're just so wonderful. So Behind the Scenes at the Museum is Kate Atkinson's first book, and to be honest, you can definitely tell. I've enjoyed every Kate Atkinson that I've read, and I did enjoy this one, but I just didn't feel as connected to this book as I did to her other books and her other characters. We're basically following this child called Ruby from her conception, which she narrates. Like, I quite enjoyed that part, like before she was born, narrating being like present in her mother, but her mother not knowing that she's present inside her at this moment in time. And like it just shows like a quick overview of the family, her father and her two older sisters, and her mother, who's like a bit of a miserable bitch, really. She really is just a really miserable cow. I gotta be honest. So we follow Ruby from then, and this is the book that I was talking about that was from a child's point of view, which kind of let me down, because I did struggle to feel connected to her at all throughout the story, because we were shown quite a few years in quite a short time span, or quite a short page span. Is that a thing? Page span? Whatever. But I feel like it dwelled in her childhood years for quite a while, and the hints that we got at her adult life, I think, were quite interesting. So I wish it was slightly more balanced between her being a child and her being older. I feel like it really skipped the teenage years quite a lot in there, but we follow like the child's perspective of like both her parents cheating on each other, and how the kids see different tragedies and how they perceive things in a way that you wouldn't expect, and like how they deduce things from like the bare bones that the adults have told them. So that was really interesting. And then right at the end, like when it started into her adult life, I was much more intrigued and engaged with it, and I felt way more connected to her. So yeah, it was like a 50-50. I didn't mind the first half, but I much preferred like the last 100 pages. But I mean, Kate Atkinson is great. She only improved from here on, so I'm not going to stop reading Kate Atkinson anytime soon. And there we have it, folks. That is the end of my Crafty reads. I've gotten quite far in this jumper. Let me pull up a big loop. So what I'm hoping is that I can do one more round of this blue, and then I'm going to join the sleeves. I'm going to start doing the sleeves, and then I'm going to do it to down here. I'm not going to make it cropped because I get a cold tummy. I need my little tum to be warm. But yes, that is all of the books that I got to talk to you about today. If you want more from me, I mean, why wouldn't you? My TikTok is down below. We have a lot of fun on there, and then all my beautiful book pictures are on Instagram, along with my very active stories, which I post on every day. Also down below is my Kofi link. It's just like a little one-time tip jar if you ever want to support my channel. But other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and I'll check you next time.